Ladies and gentlemen of the old world, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between High Elves and Kislev here on the Eastern Isle Colony. It's going to be myself with a Sea Helm facing off against Boris Ursus, and we are going to be rocking a pretty elite army, which is very, very fun and certainly a little bit viable on this map. On a bigger map that's very open, like Scalandir's Cave or Edge of the Darkwood, bringing an elite High Elf kind of formation like this, you probably wouldn't have enough mobility to really contest the points. But on this map, you can really just kind of park two archers between objective 1 and 2, cover both points, and have those elite infantry really shine. So we got Phoenix Guard, Spearmen, and they're going to be backed up by two Sisters of Avalorn, as well as the new Blades of Hoeth. So against Kislev, these guys aren't terrible, right? They have a 100 armor as well as bronze shield. So if they're getting shot at, for example, by, let's say, some of the hybrid shooting, they're going to be mitigating a decent percentage of that firepower with their shields here. Well, not shields. Technically, they swat the arrows out of the sky with their swords, which is very, very cool. And yeah, they have great armor piercing, good combat stats, and also Guardian. So the idea with this build is get the Guardian Swordmasters, stack a bunch of characters nearby, and really, really feast. So for the character squad, we have the new Sea Helm, which I actually really like this character. He's cheap, he's cost effective. I think he costs around 900 to 1,000 gold, and he's got some good abilities as well. He does lower nearby melee attack of enemies by -5. He also has Naval Discipline, so nearby allies going to be getting a buff, and Charge Defense versus Large, which is actually really nice on the Swordmasters. And yeah, just a cheap, solid character. We do also have a Loremaster of Hoeth. So the Loremasters of Hoeth, the Henry Cavils, have gotten some cool changes in this patch, and most notably, the Blessed Tomb, or Tome. So this is going to be giving +8 leadership, expert charge defense to nearby allies, and it makes it so they cannot die while their hit points are above 50%. So this is amazing for elite infantry, especially if you do have some sort of healing, which of course he does. And last but not least, we do have Karadrin, the captain of the Phoenix Guard, I believe, and he is going to be coming in with his healing ability to give the big percentage-based heals to our elite infantry. So that is pretty much it for our build. Now, for Flying Taco's build over here, he's going to be rocking Horse Archers, and on the other side, he does have Boris Ursus, as well as a Frost Maiden of Tempest, a Patriarch, a Battle Line, including Zargard, Halberds, and Little Grom is probably the worst thing for me here. It's going to be putting a lot of hurt down onto my troops. Immediately shooting into the Spearmen down there is probably going to chunk a couple models, or no, he actually shoots into my elite archers. So out of the gates, the Sisters of Avalorn do pay the troll toll a little bit, but we are getting ready to go. So we're going to fast forward a little bit while we posture up on the points. Bit of skirmishing there. His horse archers just baiting out ammunition and trying to lure me into the sight of those cannons there. And yeah, we probably have this one on lock. Between the Spearmen and the Phoenix Guard, I think he's not really going to be able to contest that point too heavily. And now the Sisters of Avalorn going to be unleashing their shots and really just laying into those Armored Kossars. But Armored Kossars do have silver shields, so they are going to mitigate a lot of this damage, but it was the best target that I had available here, so might as well just kind of get some shots down on those guys. On the backside, my objective still has not been captured yet. We do call in some Silver Guard as well as White Lines of Crace to play that back objective here. And in the woods, we do have our Sea Helm lurking, so the Sea Helm going to be hanging out with his big old, it says Golden Shield in the tooltip, but kind of just looks like a sea creature there. So he's going to be hanging out there. Meanwhile, we do have Karadrin and the Loremaster of Hoeth over here. My opponent tries to drop a hailstorm on me with the Frost Maiden's bombardment, or lore magic, and we do pull back and dodge that, so it's very, very good for us. In the meantime, the Little Grom, I do not believe is shooting right now. Maybe it is shooting and hitting the trees. It looks like it has consumed some ammo, and Armored Kossars with great weapons are going to be called out while we continue ripping shots, trying to stay out of the line of sight of the Little Grom, but in doing so, we are losing some shots into the trees here, which does feel a little bit bad. The Blades of Hoeth, they're ready to go, and they will annihilate these Kislev infantry. They have really, really saw stats. They look actually really, I got to admit, those guys look really, really cool. So they're going to be moving in, and you're going to see a ton of HP on these Kislevite warriors as they are already down to like half health. Man, talk about brutal damage, right? Sea Helm going to be helping out and augmenting their stats a little bit, and now the Kislevites are going to be sounding the horn of war because obviously I have the objective advantage, so they're the ones who need to take the initiative and push up here in this situation. Griffin Legion getting afflicted by Melkos. Obviously, the Griffin Legion's going to be looking to circumvent my battle lines and maybe get in, or just bunker bust these spears here. And now we're going to have a bit of a character fight going down. So it looks like there is going to be a blizzard effect, but I do respond with the Captain of the Phoenix Guard, which is going to heal up my Blades of Hoeth and also give them some physical resist. But Boris and his Patriarch are going to be battling my characters, calling in the Griffin Legion to help out, and that Shard Blade of Ursus kind of makes it hard to see there, but now it is gone and we can see. So Blades of Hoeth doing good work. Sea Helm taking a little bit of damage, but giving the business back to Boris. Boris is putting a hurt down on my Loremaster of Hoeth, though. Boris, even though he is an anti-large fighter, still has very good stats. So very, very powerful. And he is able to bully that character there, although I did take some overcast damage. So the Loremaster of Hoeth did overcast an Earthblood right there and continues to just hold the line. On this side, we do see Things in the Woods penetrating in, and they're going to be going into my secondary. I didn't bring Reavers in this build, I just brought the Narnia lines. So we're going to have the evil Forest lines versus the true noble Narnia lines here. And I think mine should win. They have a bit of a better stat line, I believe, and they are the ROR. We'll have to see how that goes, actually. So 36, 32, 62. Actually, you know what? The Things in the Woods might actually be a little bit stronger. Interesting. But these are the Rahagri's Pride. Yeah, they both have bonus versus infantry. That's actually a comparison I've never really made. Horse archers do get back here and jump on me, but we do call in another lion unit. And it seems as if the Rahagri's Pride start to turn the tide of the fight right there. I'd have to look at the HP as well. Spearmen coming back to help, and the Sisters of Avalorn are going to be stable while we go back to the mainline fighting. We do see the Sea Helm and Karadrin, the captain of the Phoenix Guard, fighting in the hailstorm of Kislev, doing some really, really good damage. He's an excellent anti-large fighter. I actually think Karadrin is very good. And what's cool about having a foot-based character squad like this with the Sea Helm as well as the Loremaster of Hoeth is he can heal them, and there's unlimited charges on that. It just has a long cooldown. But over the course of a long game, if you have a couple foot characters grinding, taking damage, he's going to be able to heal those bad boys up. So Blades of Hoeth moving in, and they're going to be engaging the Kislevite warriors, and they're going to make very, very quick work of these warriors. And these are, you know, semi-elite infantry, these armored Kossars, but the Blades of Hoeth might be one of the strongest pound-for-pound dueling infantry in the game. I'm trying to think about which one could give them a run for their money. I'm sure some of the Chaos ones could, and yeah, there's some scary Chaos infantry. I mean, obviously, if we're talking like Wrathmongers might beat them, but I don't know. Worth testing. Sisters of Avalorn going to be dodging another bombardment right there, while the Loremaster of Hoeth continues pushing. Value trading is relatively even. I do have a lot more healing on my roster, though, so I figured as long as I could keep the healing even, we'd be okay. His Zargar did bully my spearmen, but now the Narnia line's going to be jumping in with the White Lions, and the fight continues back here as Karadrin is afflicted by the Shard Blade, as are the rest of my forces, but Boris is not going to win this fight against all these units. Karadrin has 70 melee defense, which is super, super tanky, and Boris is down to 34 melee attack right now, so he is wounded and obviously not in his peak shape. We do manage to break the Patriarch, so cutting the healing off is going to be good, and the Blades of Hoeth sitting at about 1,600 value, paying for themselves. Always love to see elite infantry doing well, and the Zargard are going to break here in just a minute. On this side, the Sisters of Avalorn shooting and repelling the various Griffin Legion units, while the Phoenix Guard are going to be chasing them back, and looks like we're going to be seeing the Mordheim Beowulfs, which is a good choice, because these guys, of course, do mitigate healing. When they hit you with the Dark Tainted Blood, it makes it so you don't receive any healing. So if he had those, for example, in the blob fight earlier, you know, I wouldn't have been able to heal my stuff up. I probably would not have even noticed, to be completely honest, if they were just kind of mixed in. Little Grom still ripping shots, probably getting great value, sitting at about 1,100 right now, shooting into my elite infantry here. And the Blades of Hoeth still going strong. But 1,500 HP left and 27 models. They will be able to connect with Boris and do a little bit of damage, but we are pulling ahead here, I would say, as we do pull a value lead, and we've casted about 4 or 5 Earthbloods this game, as well as Karadrin's captain of the Phoenix Guard to heal up my elite infantry. So there's a lot of value there. We do manage to catch the Patriarch slipping. He's going to be eating a fair amount of firepower from the Sisters of Avalorn right there, so 169 HP, and he's going to be fleeing the scene. Wait a second. Where's the Patriarch? Hold up. What the hell is this? Is the Patriarch just MIA? Okay, I think he's just invisible. Okay, that's another Haggard bug. So, I don't know. This is weird. I've never seen this before. I guess the Patriarch is just... It's just the bear. The bear is a spiritual figure in Kislev, so perhaps it has the spirit of some former Patriarch. I don't know. We don't ask those questions. That's actually really funny, though. So Fireborn and Phoenix Guard going to be hanging in there as I do call in the Elite Cav to try and deal with any kind of second wins. And I figured, you know, we're very far ahead. Let's go for the kill. We have the 2 Sisters of Avalorn, we have the Spearmen, we have the White Lions of Krakes moving up, and now is the time to push forward. So Karadrin, the Sea Helm, and Henry Cavill should be a pretty powerful combo. And the Henry Cavill, man, I think I really like him on this map. Those kind of like maps where you can just have like a really contested single point fight. Giving the cannot die effect makes the healing so effective, right? Because if the elite infantry, let's say, go down to 55% HP, they haven't lost any models, that's going to make the healing just so efficient on them. So I think that's a pretty cool combo. It's very expensive, though, and like on a bigger domination map, you might not have the tools to really contest the map, like I said in the beginning. So there is that to consider. All right, guys, on the other side, Spearmen fighting against a couple Kislevites, but we do get the Fireborn cleaning up the Armored Kossars, White Lions of Grace moving in, as well as the War Lions, and we are going to be jumping on Objective 3 right here, holding it down as the objective does go to us. Basically going to be GG at this point. Probably will be a little bit more fighting, but you can see they are really pinned back and really beat up. Boris is incredibly tattered. Do some fast forwarding as we are going to see the Kislevites go for one last hoorah. They do charge in. White Lions of Grace getting swarmed by 2 hard counters, essentially. This is very nice from him. And the Sea Helm and Karadrin are going to be going after Boris Ursus, who is eating a lot of shots from the Sisters of Avalorn, which I've always been one of my favorite units on the High Elf roster. Sisters of Avalorn are so freaking cool. But yeah, they got their bows out. Going to be ripping some shots as Boris does come in. Boris, though, is now going to be getting attacked by the Loremaster, who drops an Earthblood to support right there. And the Fireborn are going to be cruising across to really, really just consolidate our victory here. With Boris getting trapped up and pushed back, that's going to allow the Fireborn to then isolate the Mordheim Beowulfs here. And we do have the Phoenix Guard collapsing from the other side as well. So we're going to be approaching 1,000 points. We do clean up the Kislevite resistance on this side as the Fireborn continue just value trading here. And Boris is going to be just trying to get value where he can. But he didn't really have a lot of good targets. You know, I went for, you know, if I had gone for Oceanids or a Sea Elemental or the Merwookie like I was thinking of, the Merworm, Boris could have been pretty effective. But against my infantry-based army, he kind of had some struggles. Still did really good considering. Probably over 1,000 value. Yeah, about 2,000 value on him. That's really good, actually. Rahagir's Pride being called in, and the Kislevites definitely taking some big casualties, though the Kislevite warriors here are trading pretty well. But being triple capped here and the value being so even, you know, with me having healing, it's going to be basically impossible for a comeback from these guys. Phoenix Guard going to be getting the Captain of the Phoenix Guard activated, so it's going to be a big percentage-based heal on them. I believe the total amount of healing you get from the Captain of the Phoenix Guard, we'll have to check. So it's Martial Mastery. Yeah, it doesn't say the time. Martial Mathers, yes. Boris does get Karate Chop, though. The Loremaster able to put some hurt down with Spears and Rahagir's Pride. And the Sea Helm, again, I think it's a really good lore choice. I think you're going to see a lot of Sea Helm builds, just like a cheap Sea Helm character to go anchor. And he looks really cool. I love that kind of that formation stance he has there. It looks really, really sick. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all she wrote. GG, well played. Really fun. Getting to use like an elite infantry build and having those cool support characters. The Blades of Oath got 1,800. Phoenix Guard got about 1,000. Sisters both paid for themselves. Karadrin and the foot characters got some decent value, but they're not fast, so it's not like they could farm super hard. For reinforcements, Fireborn did good in the late game. Narnia Lion's able to defend the backfield. Obviously, if we were fine-tuning this build, just cut one White Lion, cut one Spearman, get like 2 or 3 Reavers to defend your backfield, and yeah, the build's pretty clean from there. But yeah, GG, well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. Boris did good. The Ice Witch got some bombardments, but most of them were dodged, and the Patriarch kind of got his butt kicked for sure. All right, guys. See you around. Take care of yourselves, and well played to my opponent.